So let's assign the same kind of things for the line and aliens we have added. So first, we have added a line component. I can understand you people will be wondering why do we need such line component. So this is gonna act as a kind of so since for rocket we have added a missile, we need a opposing action from the spaceship, right? So obviously we need a line component. So we'll be reducing its size here. Repeat the same set of procedures, that is X, Y, speed and heading for the line component as well. First I'm gonna assign the size of the line component. So drag and drop set line height to, I want the line components is going to be too small, not like this kind of bigger thing. So I want it to occupy like 0 point, let's say only 2% or 3% of the screen. So I'm going to set the height of the line component to click on math. Drag and drop a multiplication block. Click on canvas. So along the entire canvas width, I want the line component to occupy only 3%. So I'm gonna specify the value as 0.03. So when we specify the value as 0.3, it means 30%. I don't want such a long line over here, so I'm gonna specify the value as 0.03, which is 3%, and repeat the same procedure for width. Sorry, so the width is going to be 3%, so click on the drop down and change it to width, whereas the line component's height is going to occupy 2%. So specify the math value as 0.02 and make sure you change the drop down value to height in this particular block. So now we need to since the line component is going to be it is also going to be movable, that is from the spaceship towards the rocket, which will be programming it in the later part using a clock component. So now let us focus on assigning the same height and width value for the alien ship. This is also going to be so we don't want only one kind of obstacle for the rocket. We want to add some more difficulty, so I have added one more alien ship. So for that, duplicate the entire set of height and width from line. Click on the drop down and change it to alien. So I'm gonna set the height of alien to occupy 10% of the screen. So give the value as 0.1, and the width of the alien ship is going to be again the same 10%. So give the math value block as 0.1. The alien's heading and speed, we need to mention towards which direction the alien ship is going to move. That is from right to left, right? So from right side towards the rocket, which is left. I'm gonna specify the heading. Click on alien. drag and drop set alien speed to block. Again the same speed, which is 10 as usual. That is the same speed which the alien ship, that is spaceship, is going to move. And similarly, I'm gonna assign the direction. Since I mentioned the alien ship is pointed towards the rocket, which is left, we all know the heading in MIT app Inventor is counterclockwise to the regular protractor. So 180 means pointed towards left, which is the counterclockwise direction of the traditional protractor. Now I'm gonna assign the X and Y position of this alien ship. So again the same spaceship value will be applied to the alien ship, that is to the top right corner. Initially we'll be assigning the alien ship position as top right corner, but once the game starts moving, when we move forward, the X value will get varied from anywhere between a random integer between 1 to 300, which we'll be dealing with it in the later part using the clock component. So initially I'm gonna assign the X and Y position of the alien, duplicate the height block of alien, and instead of height, change it to X. I want the alien to occupy the same top right corner, so give the height as X position as canvas width into 90% and Y position as canvas height into 10%, which is 0.1. And then we need to display all the 3 heart image on the screen. So click on lives 1, drag and drop, set lives visibility and assign a value of true to it. Repeat the same process for the lives 2 and lives 3. And remember, we have disabled the clock components we have added. So this is where we're gonna enable the clock component. So these 2 clock components are used for the random movement of the enemy's obstacle, which is the alien ship and the line from the spaceship. So for these 2, they are gonna fire at some we have mentioned the seconds in 2000 and 2500, that is for 2 and 2.5 seconds. So for that I'm going to enable the clock component now. Click on clock 1, drag and connect, set clock 1 timer enabled and assign a value of true to it. Duplicate the block and replace it with clock 2. In that way we are enabling both of the clock components. So that's it, we have created the entire reset procedure. So hereafter, whenever we want to reset the game or start the game, we can simply call this procedure whenever we want. And now I'm gonna create a set of process like for the clock component. So whenever the clock 1 component is enabled, I want a set of procedure to be repeated. So drag and connect when clock 1 timer event handler. So this particular clock 1 timer has been used for the random movement of the line component from the spaceship. So the line component is going to be fired at the rate of 2 seconds. That's why we have mentioned the clock 1 component's timer interval as 2000. We have not assigned the x and y position of the line component previously. We have just mentioned the height and width alone. So here I'm gonna assign the x and y position of the line component. So click on line, drag and connect, set line x to x position to same as that of the spaceship. That is the rightmost corner. So I'm gonna give the value as spaceship x, so that you will get a feeling like that line component is coming out from the spaceship. And so for y also we can provide the same spaceship's y, the line's y position as same spaceship's y, but we cannot do that because the line components y, the size of y component along height wise is very low compared to the spaceship. So when we assign the same y position, it will be placed on top of the spaceship, like the line is coming out of top of the spaceship. We don't want that. I want my line component to come at somewhere in middle of the spaceship, so that we'll get a feeling like the spaceship is actually shooting the rocket. So I'm gonna add some extra value to the y value of the spaceship. Click on math, drag and connect an addition block. So we need a value block. Here specify the value as, let's say, 35, so that you'll get a feeling like the line is coming out from the center of the spaceship. And we need to mention towards which direction the line must point to, at what speed it must move, and all those things. For that, click on line component once again. Drag and drop, set line heading to, I mentioned earlier itself, that is towards left means it is 180 degrees in App Inventor. Duplicate the same block, and instead of heading, select speed. I'm gonna specify the speed as 5 and interval as, at an interval of 10 pixels, so that the line crosses 10 pixels at the rate of 5. And then the line's visibility is going to be true. Because only when the clock 1 timer is enabled, I want my line to be visible. Before that, all you can see on the screen is a spaceship, a rocket, that's it. The same set of procedures is going to be repeated for the alien ship component, not the spaceship. Remember, this is one of the obstacle, which is alien ship. For that, we can duplicate the entire set of blocks, but instead of clock 1, we can make use of the clock 2 component, for which the interval we have specified as 2500, which is 2.5 seconds. For every 2.5 seconds, I want my alien ship to be targeted towards the rocket once again. So wherever we have given the value as line, click on the drop down and change it to alien. Alien's x and y position. aliens heading, speed and interval, and the visibility. So now the X position is going to be the same X position, that is from the rightmost corner, but the Y position is going to be varied a little bit because alien ship is going to come at some random places, not from the spaceship but from some random places anywhere in between the y-axis. So I'm going to give the y value as, click on math, drag and drop a random integer from 1 to 100 block. Now instead of 100 I'm going to give the value as 300 so that it occupies the entire y value, that is from 1 to 300. In between that value the whole y-axis will get covered in most of the phones, so I'm going to give the value as 300. And the heading is again 180, speed 5, interval and visible are not going to change, so leave it as it is. Alright, so now in between these labels I'm going to add a start button so that after a point of time when the user health and enemy health decreases and the game comes to an end, once again when the user wants to restart the game we need a button. For that let's say I'm going to add one button before the lives, so rename it as start button. Change the text for button as start and the text color as white. Sorry, so let the text color be as usual default. If you want you can make a change. So whenever the start button is clicked I want the entire set of reset procedure to take place. So let's program that also. For that click on start. When start button is clicked I'm gonna call the reset procedure so that the user can actually restart the game whenever he wanted to. And now I'm gonna add procedures for rocket's flinging action. That is, the user needs to point his finger towards the rocket where he can flung towards the opposite spaceship to launch the missile. In order to program that part, click on rocket, drag and drop when rocket is flung. So whenever the rocket is flung, I'm gonna launch the missile from the rocket. Click on missile. Drag and drop set missile x2. So remember it must give a feel to the user that the missile is being launched from the rocket. So I'm going to give the same x and y position of the rocket, like the same one we have did for the spaceship. That is, the line is going to be launched from the spaceship, right? So the same set of procedures is going to be repeated here. So I'm going to set the missile's x position to rocket's x position. Click on rocket. Duplicate the block, click on the drop down and change the x value to y. So now we all know if we directly give the rocket's y position, the missile will get placed on top of the rocket, and if we want to place it in between, that is in between at the middle of the rocket, I'm going to add some value to the y position. For that click on math, drag and drop one addition block. So previously the spaceship is much high in value when compared to the rocket. So the rocket size is very much less when compared to the spaceship. So instead of giving 35, the one we have provided for the spaceship, so I'm going to give a reduced value, which is, let's say, a 15. Works fine. So click on math, give the value as 15. So now we need to specify the heading and speed interval for the missile component. So the missile is going to be pointed towards the spaceship, which is at the rightmost corner. So from left to right, the missile is going to be pointed. So obviously 0° will be the value for the right direction in MIT App Inventor. So click on missile, drag and drop, set missile heading to, and assign a value of 0 to it. Duplicate the block, change it to speed, and give the value of 5 at an interval of 10. The missile is going to travel with a speed of 5 at an interval of 10, and then the visibility is going to be true. Whenever the rocket is flung, the missile's visibility is going to be true. Duplicate the true block and connect it here. Right, so now we're gonna add one more block to control the movement of the rocket. The user needs to point his finger on the rocket, and actually, since the spaceship is moving in between up and down, I want the user to cope up with it so that he can touch and drag the rocket up and down, not from left to right, but only from up and down. For that, we're gonna add one more event handler. What must happen when the rocket is being dragged by the user? Click on rocket, drag and drop the event handler called when rocket is dragged. Whenever the rocket is dragged by the user, I don't want the rocket to move anywhere along the x-axis. It must remain in the same x position, that is at the leftmost corner, but it can move any value along the y-axis. That is according to the y position in which the user is pointing his finger towards. So according to the position of finger of user, the rocket's y position is going to be assigned. So click on rocket, drag and connect, set rocket y to, hover over current y. According to the current y position of the user, the rocket's y position is going to be arranged.